I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First thing on the agenda, consent agenda, approval of June 14, 2021 minutes, utility deposit refund of amount of $81.84. Is there a motion we approve the consent agenda as read?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Next thing, regular agenda, none, public comments, petition, memorials, none. Old business, consider approval of HR's payment app number 19 for the streets sales tax project. Recommend action, motion to approve HR's payment app 19 for the street sales tax project in the amount of $492,287.76. I'd entertain a motion to approve the pay request, app 19, with the progress we're getting in the streets. We held it up last week, but I'd entertain a motion we approve app number 19. Is there a motion? I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded. Approve application 19. We do have quite a good cash reserves back, so it's not like it, we're we don't have any cushion here. So motion been made and seconded to approve HR's pay request app 19 for the street truck project at $492,287.76. Motion been made and seconded. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Next thing, Aaron, library.
Yes. Good evening. I just came in for my normal updates today. First up, I have our board has approved the recommendation of Elaine Schilling to be appointed to our board of trustees. So that's my first note for today. It's pretty short otherwise, but we'd like to have Elaine Schilling be on our board of trustees at the library.
If the commission's all right with that, it would require a motion in a second
For Elaine.
for her appointment.
Yeah,
I will make a motion to approve the appointment of Elaine Schilling to the library board with excitement because she'll be fabulous.
yes, we're very happy about it.
Motion been made and seconded. Is there any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah, thank you. And the other two quick things are that we have a community survey that we've put out that patrons are encouraged to fill out. We have it both available online through our website. And then we also have paper copies if people would rather fill that out in person. And then we'll be doing that over the summer and then see if we want to keep doing it or if we're happy with the response we've got from it. And then our summer library program is continuing on through July 16th, and we still got several fun things to do. Tomorrow we have the Ruby Slipper Goat Rescue. They'll be in at the library and we'll have a goat story time and things like that. And they'll get to meet a goat tomorrow at the library, which is quite fun. And we've got a list of other things that we're still doing. And then we have our end of summer party on July 17th at the library. We'll show an outdoor movie at the library and have snacks and things available as well. That's the majority of my updates. I also included in my packet all of our normal statistics. Now that we've been open, we can see that we've got a great response for people coming back. And we included our board liked our numbers so much for our value of services that we've talked about, that we're just keeping it in part of our monthly statistics. And so we've got that in there as well as highlights of what we've been able to do in 2019 and 2020 at the library. So that was all of my updates for this evening.
Any comments for Aaron? Thank you, Aaron. You must have done a whale of a story there, so you're success story tonight for you. You might text me on your next meeting because I'll be attending.
Okay, sure.
Next thing, review a preliminary engineering report by Olson's and sanitary sewer peak flow management program. I guess I don't know who the speaker is, so.
Got Brooke Huddlemeyer and Mike Millennius with Olson Associates.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brooke Huddlemeyer with Olson, and we have been
Would you
working.
get up next
sorry.
to the mic?
Sorry, we have been working on a project to assist the city in handling peak flows from storms. I'm sure you guys have experienced a lot of those lately.
Perfect timing.
I know, right?
Well, actually, yeah.
If you could get out of my basement, that'd be great too. Just saying.
We're gonna do our best to help out with that situation. So what we did was we had 7 flow meters stationed around the city, as well as 2 rain gauges that we used to monitor rainfall in May and June of this year. We also looked at a couple areas out south for new development areas as a part of this project. So along with flow metering, we also looked at closed caption television of lines, or CCTV. And so we went out and looked for defects in the lines. We also did some smoke testing to see if we could find any major defects that would handle and take out a large quantity of rainfall. Unfortunately, our findings did not pinpoint any major sources. It looks like it's pretty universal, and that's pretty typical of a aging system. So it's not anything outstanding that we've seen. So the pink on this map is the smoke testing lines, and then the yellow were the lines that we completed CCTV on. So along with that work, we analyzed 2 new areas for additional, possibly building out expansion of the sewer system. This first one is the west service area, which is this area over here. And so we looked at what it would take to build an interceptor line from this whole area, which is shaded in pink, into this blue, and connect into the system over in the yellow or greenish area over here. And so we pulled together costs and looked at what it would take to do that. So this is the west area. And then this area would be the south. This is just the east of yeah.
Well, with that said, like Brooke said, I might notice with Olson's, there was not any really smoking guns that we found. We were hopeful that we were. The areas that were highlighted there in the aspect of smoke testing was the aspect of areas that we thought had possible potential of finding something serious. We did not find anything major. And when we looked across the 7 different locations, there was not one that really stood out. With that said, you know, the city has continuously been fighting the aspect of peak flows, both from the aspect of equipment damage at the primarily the north lift station, along with washing out our treatment plant when we have those high flows. So when we stepped back and looked at this, we looked at it a couple different ways. One of which is there a reasonable way that we can go in and start really pinpointing inside of the collection system and fix a quote unquote smoking gun? Like Brooke said, all indications are that there is not one spot that's doing it. It's multiple little pricks across their entire collection system. So realistically, that gets pretty cost prohibitive really fast. So with that said, what we did is outline really an approach to take and just deal with the peak flow, to where we can basically push that flow off to the side until we have time to get the treatment plants, the flow comes down and we have excess capacity at our treatment plant. We don't wash it out. Basically, it's a wide spot in the road. When we look at the collection system, it really had four different key pieces that we're going to walk through tonight in regards to recommended improvements. The first of which is just the aspect of some maintenance piece out at the lift station, out at Lechner lift station, where we basically have a generator that's not operational. And when power goes out, we have an operational issue out there, a pretty minor piece of that equation. The second piece of it is when we started looking at the different locations where we have spots that we can build some storage. The reason we went that route is that is a relatively cheap option. Basically build some earthen basins to where we can store water for a short period of time, typically up to 2 to 3 days, and then turn that water back through the treatment system and treat it. The first spot that we looked at is really down at the existing treatment plant or the south lift station. We did size some stuff in regards to that. And the way that this was sized was really utilizing some EPA tools that is accepted by the state of Kansas in regards to taking that flow information that we got and really projecting it for different rainfall events. Now, we probably wouldn't have handled the aspect of the rainfall event that you guys just got, but really the goal was to handle really a 10-year event, which is really about a 4-inch rain, that we would be able to hold that water and treat it. Please keep in mind, these are all conceptual. We haven't pinpointed the exact location of this. I know when we presented this to the staff, there was concern about this location due to the current property owner may not be in favor of selling some property to the city. That can be relocated at different locations, and we've got the budget to do that. But basically at the south area was the proposed location of basically a 1.5 million gallon earthen holding basin, to where we can take that peak flow, basically dump it off the line, and then bring it back into the line and over to the treatment plant when our flows start coming down. Please keep in mind, right now, we're running typically around 400,000 gallons a day. So treatment plant can handle about 1.2 without causing major issues in regards to operation. So that's what sized this facility. Also doing the same thing up at the north lift station. That is the site of the old treatment plant. We know that you've done diligent work in regards to cleaning out of a lot of the area up there. Is basically taking and demoing the old existing plant and basically, again, building an earthen basin that we can basically take flow during high flow and pump it up here. What we did find up here at the north lift station, and the reason that we're continuously flooding, is the peak flows that are coming to that station basically overwhelm our pumping equipment. We just don't have enough pumping equipment to take the water up to the existing equalization basin. Second of all, that basin is highly undersized and is starting to deteriorate pretty significantly. So we didn't feel that a concrete basin was really the best option to go. So the improvements would basically be some expansion of the pumping systems at the north treatment plant, north pump station, to basically pump the water up, and then we can gravity flow back like the existing facility is doing right now. The last piece of it, probably not as high of a priority, but definitely included in there, is the aspect of the line going out to the treatment plant. When we start pushing these high flows, we have a section of line down here along the railroad tracks that basically comes into what we call a submerged condition. We don't have water running out on the ground, but we're getting close. Okay. Again, this is modeling. The manhole's buried. It's not going to blow itself out, but we knew that there was some areas of improvement down here that really are needed from the aspect of the south lift station. So that's kind of a high level, quick and dirty review. Now, the way this report is broke up is actually two pieces. The first of which was the aspect of what improvements we need to make to our existing system so that we don't have storm flow issues or that wet weather issue. And the other piece was the expansion of the system. The expansion of the system has a pretty hefty price tag of about $7.4 million, just because we've got a lot of road crossings along with a lot of footage of pipe. And good, bad, or indifferent, we have some houses out there, but we don't have a lot of them right now. So there's not a large client base out there. And the other key piece is the houses are built clear at the top of the drainage basin. So we have to run a line all the way up the drainage basin to do that. So from a dollars and cents standpoint, it's something I know the city was really interested in looking at. And we did pull those numbers together. They are included in the report. The other key piece, like I said, was the aspect of the collection system improvements. And this is included in the report, but we really broke it into three phases. And talking with Garrett today, and we started starting to look at the packaging piece of this for our meeting to go in for funding through the kayak group, which is basically USDA, CDBG, state SRF funds, both on the clean water and the drinking water, to go in for funding. Really what we recommended is in phase one is really doing some of the stuff that we found. We did find some things in the collection system on the public side and also on the private side. We had about $300,000 worth of repairs on the public side of things that we found that can be letting in water, but it's not a significant amount of water. We did find some stuff on the private side that we did include. And then we have the north and south lift station. And then the capacity improvements is basically the upsizing of the line. So that brings us to a total of about $7.2 million, which is a very big number. In discussion with Garrett, I think also from the aspect of the funding, we would propose that we split those really into phase 1A and 1B. The sweet spot right now for the funding agencies is around a $3 million project, to where we can maximize our grant funds, get a project completed, and then realistically go back in to exercise those grant funds again to try to keep the impact to the users here in town as minimal as we can. There are some other things farther down the road here in the aspect of some public and private. Definitely the aspect of Layton's lift station. That includes not only emergency generator, but also some screening improvements. And then some other stuff here in phase 3 that's farther down. So what we're here tonight for is to answer any questions. I realize that's, we waited 2.5 years to get rainfall. Ironically, we pulled the flow meters out and then it rains 5 inches. But that's the nature of the beast. But with that said, there's about 1.5 years worth of work in here. And I realize we went over in about 15 minutes. So I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have. But what the goal of this is to package this up now and get it into kayak so we can look at the funding. By submitting it, we are not committing to anything. We are basically just seeing how the funding would fall out and then bring that information back to you to see if there's anything that makes sense to move forward with. So with that, I'm more than happy to answer any questions, or Mike or Dave, if I missed anything, please jump in.
And, I might add the CDBG grant is 600,000. It used to be 500, it's 600 now, I think.
Correct.
And that's what Mike was talking about, maximizing, splitting into 2 phases. So instead of getting 600 on a $7 million project, 600 towards a $3 million project. Not to mention USDA. I'm trying to remember, not being under consent. I think the maximum grant is 45%.
Yes.
If you're under consent, like we used to be, it's 75, I think, 75%. So there'd be possible grant there as well. So, 45%, what takes 3 million out of it roughly.
Roughly 3.
Plus 600,000. I mean, then you're looking at pretty good grant for that. But like Mike said, the first step is going to kayak for the CDBG funding, applying for CDBG. We would also bring, he mentioned Garrett, that's Garrett Nordstrom with GAS, Governmental Assistance, the grant administration firm. He would come to the next meeting because another part of this would be utilizing GIS for the USDA and the KDHE applications to get all that going as well. If I remember right, apps have to be in by September 1. CDBG typically doesn't announce until November,
Yeah.
November, December. But they hold all the meetings, the kayak meetings in the summer, and then the application is due, I think, around September timeframe as well. It's a large project. But I think, Dave, you could probably speak to last Thursday night / Friday morning out at the North Sewer Plant.
Yeah, we had 5.56 inches of rain. That new $49,000 piece of equipment ran the water. Some of our roads got washed out. I saw water coming out of one of our pump stations. It comes into a bar screen, it shoots 16 inches into the air at about 1,000 gallons a minute. It's just crazy.
I guess what we're looking at the North Sewer Plant for a storage facility.
We're looking at a facility both at the north and also at the south.
So we're talking about almost 6 million.
Yes, realistically, if we would break those into 2 phases, I'd propose we maybe do the north lift station as the first phase and do the remainder as a second phase. If we do split those into 2 phases.
Good. So I guess there's really no commitment. We just go ahead and put an application.
Yeah.
And, we'll see where it goes. I mean, we can't.
Finalize the PER.
What we'll do is we'll finalize the PER, split this up. Realistically, the aspect of the sewer extension piece, I'd really recommend that we just put that in the back of this report, hold that off to the side, because that, from a funding standpoint, is the lowest priority is expansion of your system. But it's to break these up, submit it in to see what funding is available.
Actually, on your north lift station, do we need to buy any more property if we put a holding facility there?
At the north lift station, there was basically, we got room on the existing property to do that. Now it's going to require some demolition of some structures and moving some things around. We'll probably try to slide it down the hill as much as we can. But yes, you have adequate property at the north.
On the south lift station, where were you talking about locating that? Do we need to buy property on that?
That'd be on Sean Lloyd's property, just south of the tracks. Yeah. North of the creek, but south of the tracks. I think he hays it now.
Basically, what we had looked at is this area right here. And the main reason I was picked out was A, we had room. B, it was beside our existing sewer. This is the north is up. Basically, this is the treatment plant. This is the railroad tracks running through right here, and then the road going to the old plant in the south lift
Is
station.
that on Gamble's property?
Lloyd.
Sean Lloyd.
Sean Lloyd.
Oh, Sean. Okay.
So now and again, there's other options. We can look at around somewhere up on above the treatment plant or some other location. We just put it there because we can gravity dump it into there relatively easy. And it's a lot easier to control if I can dump it in with gravity. I don't have to pump it.
Yeah.
It's nothing that requires.
Actually, on Sean Lloyd, is that on the south side of the sewer plant?
Yes.
It's not the
Yeah, it's on
north.
the south side of the railroad tracks there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say he's not on the
Yep.
north side.
Yeah.
So that's all.
No,
Gamble.
this is basically north up. So you'd be basically on the south side of the railroad
Right.
tracks.
I guess what do you want, Mike? You just want us
I
to,
think we just need a motion to submit, correct?
Yeah, motion to submit for kayak
That's all we need.
would do it.
is there a motion
I guess approve submitting for the sewer project to kayak for CDBG funding.
is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you a lot.
Thank you.
Next thing on the agenda, consider adoption of resolution 2021-02, adopting the Kansas Homeland Security Region K hazardous mitigation plan.
This was sent to us by Don Pounds, the county emergency manager. Just saying for the plan to be submitted, the cities have to pass a resolution to participate. As I understand, as it was explained, if we have a FEMA event, for us to take part in any reimbursements or anything like that, we have to be part of it. So he sent this resolution over, and that's why we're presenting it to you all tonight.
So it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 2021-02, adopting the Kansas Homeland Security Region K hazard mitigation plans.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded. Any other comments from any other commissioners? No other comments, we'll vote.
Commissioner Gabriel.
Aye.
Commissioner Wiltie.
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker.
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye, motion carried. Next thing on the agenda, discussion of nuisance violation at 211 North Fifth Street, Ruth. You want to come up to the speaker? Well, we'll give Dave a chance. You want Dave to talk first?
Yeah, please.
All right. I got your card here, so I thought maybe you was on the agenda here.
I had prepared some brief notes regarding that. I think a copy has been provided to you. There's shared a number of photographs that have been taken over a period of time that anyone's welcome to look at, and there's a packet that you can pass around. But what I've done is today has written some notes that the 211 North 5th property location has been problematic with respect to mowing conditions, yard conditions, dwelling structure conditions, and health nuisances in and around the dwelling structure. There's been no consistent property maintenance, and there's been a general appearance that the property conditions are headed for exponential blighting conditions of the neighborhood and the community. The most serious concerns beginning in what appears to be late January or early February of 2021, in that water utilities have been interrupted by request of the property owner due to leaking conditions in the plumbing system. It is my personal observation that the natural gas service has been interrupted also at this at or near the same time. Without water, there would appear to be health and sanitation issues ranging from bathing, water to flush bodily fluids and waste into the sewer system, as well as a number of issues with food preparation, handling, and cooking. There is no known trash service currently in use at this location. The dwelling structure appears to be declining rapidly to include failed and failing gutter systems, failed roof and valleys, which are likely to have started the roof system's inability to shed water properly. The fascia and soffits are in disrepair, and the painted brick has a number of disengagements of the mortar joints. The porch ceiling appears to be failing and capable of inviting animal habitation. Though the conditions are quite blighting to the neighborhood and community, there appears to be little ability to communicate with the owner occupant of the property location. Service of notice and municipal code violations have been rejected both by certified letter and personal service by the Hiawatha Police Department. Main concern is both the neighborhood and the general welfare and safety of the inhabitant. I'm seeking your approval to begin an effective notice through Article 5 minimum housing violation. And to effect this notice, it may be necessary to publish notice to begin efforts to resolve the blighting conditions at the 211 North 5th location. Optimally, we expect that successful mitigation would be through communication with the property owner, that does not appear to be an immediate option. So I'd like to make efforts to move that process along. And I think there's some families here that that live in the neighborhood that would also like to make some statements about that property location. Any questions of me?
No, anything that's blighted and not being taken care of, I'm 100% on board. So, I mean, yeah. So, I guess, do you want to motion that we go ahead with Article 5?
Yeah, you might listen to the adjacent property owners.
Well, we'll do that, and then
Okay.
we'll go ahead and address it.
All right, thank you.
Is that house personally owned or is it a rental?
I believe it's the county parcel listing shows it owned by an individual.
That resides there,
Yes.
Thank you, Dave.
or we believe to reside there.
Ruth, you,
Thank you. I'm Ruth Randall. I am a homeowner at 506 Shawnee Street. I don't have much to add over what Dave said, except almost a year ago, there was a pile of dirt or manure delivered. And we believe, because we see a very large raccoon coming out of that in the evening, and we have children in the neighborhood, and I think it's also a danger to them. And that's really all I have to add. I think. Did you have something? I think Wendy Shoemaker, was she on the list too to speak?
well, she's not, but I'll give her 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh,
She is now.
Hi, I'm Wendy Shoemaker. I live at 505 Shawnee. Ruth and Ron and Jake and I had purchased a property at 500 Shawnee that we're cleaning up currently and renovating it. But I've contacted Dave and talked to him a couple of times about this property. Like Ruth said, there was dirt. I think it's been over a year now when the dirt was delivered, but probably 2 months ago, a big trailer of horse manure was delivered along with some straw. I contacted Dave at that time and said, why are we allowing, I mean, if we're actively trying to take care of this issue, and it's a health issue for her too. I went by and took some pictures. You know, there's a hose coming from the top window that's open into a bucket. You know, the house stinks and odor comes from the house. She has dogs that are no longer, I mean, I haven't seen them outside for a while, but I think talking to some of the neighbors, she must bring them out really early in the morning. So, but you know, that's just a continuing issue. You know, the fence that's there and stuff's growing up. The big problem is the coon. We came home from my son's game the other night, and this coon is back, you know, around. And my kids play outside in the dark. You know, we sit outside and watch them, but you know, now we have this huge raccoon running around, and we watched it come from behind that horse manure pile. So, no, that's a big concern. So, you know, we're trying to clean up the neighborhood. Like I said, we bought that property, are cleaning up. So.
Yep, appreciate your comment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I guess the thing, what we're looking at is welfare and safety of inhabitants, speak on approval beginning effective notice through Article 5, minimum housing violation. Effective notice, it may be necessary to public notice to begin efforts to resolve the blighted condition at 211 North 5th Street. And I'd entertain a motion. We go ahead and. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and second. Go ahead with Article 5, minimum housing violations, and have Dave do the proper paperwork and get it on board. Anything else, Dave?
You're passing this, but what's just gonna happen? I know you can't ever get her. She won't ever answer the phone.
No.
I get that. I'm an expert. If anybody wants a good story, I can hear you, but she, bless her heart, she's kind of a mess. She's got at least 2 or 3 cats, 3 or 4 dogs. They're all inside. Her upstairs window has been open for over a year now, all winter long, all summer long, cracked this much. She has a rain barrel out back now, and does anybody want to know where her trash bag is? So, I'm telling you what happened to this. So, it's just, it can't be healthy for anyone. Anyone in a couple block radius, especially in summer. Sorry.
Is this, you're talking about like the informal hearing request and then going through those steps? So time frame, if I remember right, we send a letter requesting an informal hearing within a reasonable amount of time. So that could be a week, 2 weeks. And then from there, trying to remember, to go to it gets brought to the commission.
The notice, actual notice to of Article 5 minimum housing conditions has not been received or accepted by the. So
Right.
Whether it's necessary to publish it or the ability to communicate just doesn't exist, and it needs to be initiated somehow or another so we can and it may require posting the informal request to do an informal meeting. But it doesn't, there's no anticipation that would occur even if those letters were posted.
Right.
So,
but we still have to go through, we have to make the attempts.
yes.
Trying to think if it comes to like a resolution, an abatement resolution. Once the commission passes the resolution, then in other cases, they have 10 days to rectify the situation before we could go in and abate it. So, I mean, if it's a case of that, resolution would be at the next meeting plus 10 days. So, I mean, just letting you know, realistically, you're looking at 24 days before anything.
I think the only thing we're talking about is do the process and start the paperwork.
Right.
And that's what we're talking about tonight. We're not talking.
Right. Yeah.
So that's where we're at right now. And that's why I wanted to get started on the preparations and let Dave go ahead and do the proper paperwork procedure to get it done. And so they could bring it back to us, but
Yeah, I mean, so we could have her brought back to us by this next meeting, so it's 2 weeks.
It
I
would,
mean, the time frame would fit.
best case scenario,
Yeah.
if that could all happen this sooner rather than
Yeah,
later.
I'd say tape that thing on the door and just,
But be careful when you go on a front porch and start to fall through,
Sorry.
stay to the right. Just
Yeah.
watching her, stay to the right. Not go up to the front door, stay
Then-
to the right.
saved us a workman's comp
Yeah.
came there.
Well,
Thank
and I mean, another option, chief, I mean, if I remember right, per code, without water and sewer services available, it's against our code to live there. But you have to be able to prove they're living there.
Right.
And when you have someone like this who doesn't answer the door, I mean, how do you,
You have to decide whether they're actually in there or not.
yeah,
So could,
That would be the city court, and she would have the ability to say whether she's there or not.
mm-hmm,
I mean, is there any extra thing you could do with, I mean, you could say it's a welfare check? I mean, if we haven't seen her and you don't,
She has stuff to do with FedEx and,
Mail.
well, I mean, I know we know she's there, but I'm just
We
saying,
would-
can we say we don't know?
And we would certainly do our best to identify anybody inside the house.
Mhm.
And even if I mean, without spending an enormous amount of time, we would also try and set off and see if she happens to come out or whatever, so that we can identify that there is someone in there. There's also a couple of other avenues I can go to find out, because she does get some assistance, and I can check with those folks too. And we will try to serve her immediately
mhm.
with any personal service. I don't think we try to mail anything to her anymore at all. Yeah, everything will be done that way. And instead of us approaching the house, I think it would be faster if we were to just go through that other avenue. And we'll try that.
Or set it on top of the FedEx box.
Yeah, right.
I have complimentarily sent regular mail to the location, so there's an assumption that some of that's been read, but not necessarily. There's no efforts to communicate from the other side.
Well, we gotta take action. I mean, you can't get things done without taking action, and
Right.
and we're backing up. We're gonna talk about that because
Yeah.
we need action taken. And if somebody's living in a house and they don't have actually water and sewer, and they've got animals, I see.
We can start. And the city ordinance does allow us to write tickets, doesn't allow us to do anything else. I can't make her get out. So I can write them tickets.
Do what you gotta do.
Can do, will do.
Right.
And I know I just drove by there before the meeting and there was two ladies on the front porch over there.
Yeah.
Just before the meeting. Before I got here, I'd driven over by there and checked it. And there was two ladies over there, so.
Well, that don't mean they can't go back in the house and not answer the door.
That's exactly
You know what I
right.
mean, if you don't do something, you're backing up, so.
Daughter and boyfriend, or their boyfriend was on the white truck. If you see them there, she usually comes out to talk to them while he's going on, so. she likes that.
Good. All right. What are we doing? We're just going ahead and vote on, going ahead with the process.
Yeah, I think that already happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got a motion.
All in
All
favor?
right.
Aye.
All right.
I don't know what I just voted for, but.
To start the minimum.
Same motion. We just go ahead and process it. All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you all
Yeah, thank you for coming.
All right. Just don't want to hold up the meeting all night.
What's in
Yeah. Thank you, Dave. Yeah.
Next thing on the agenda is consider approval of publishing 2022 budget summary. Recommended action motion, consider approval to publish 22 budget summary and call for vote. I think our budget's zero. Mike done some readjustments on some numbers, and we're still no mill increase. So, and the budget looks good to me. If everybody's reviewed it, I entertain a motion. We go ahead and consider publishing 2022 budget summary. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve to publishing of the 2022 budget summary.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thanks, Joe, Mike, for the good work, and looks good to me. And anything, there's not an increase in property taxes, a bonus for me. So next thing, consider global life liability national benefits as a payroll deduction. I guess, Mike, you might address that. I think Tish was.
Tish has been dealing with them. But this is no cost to the city. It's just an extra option for employees to take part in. Somewhat similar to Aflac. It also offers options that Aflac doesn't. It's also available instead of just full-time employees. The firefighters can sign up. We wouldn't recommend doing payroll deduction for the firefighters because if they only make one call in a month, that might be less than what the deduction would be. And they're all very aware of that. I think the lady with Global Life is meeting with them. They can set it up through her to pay for things like that. But it's extra options for the employees. Some we don't have. And again, the biggest thing is it's not obligating the city in any cost. The only thing we might do is run it through payroll for full-time so they can get that tax benefit, pre-tax cost of it. But no cost to the city.
I guess I'd entertain a motion to enter an agreement with Global Life Liability National Benefits as a payroll deduction and call for a vote. Is there
I'll make that motion.
just a second?
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Next, John.
I have nothing, thank you.
Tisha's not with us. Andy's not with us. Mike's with us.
I'm here. As you all know, North 12th is open. It's been poured. All that's left is cleanup, seeding, mulching, and correction of remaining identified defects. You probably noticed today they started tearing out panels on North 7th. They got a hold of me at 9 o'clock and said we're going to start tearing stuff out. Okay, I sent a text caster out, and they're going to do the east half, and then once that cures, move to the west half. This afternoon, engineer and Garrett with HRS and I walked the streets they've done this year. There's some cracks. They've identified all of them. There was paint last Friday morning. Didn't know who did it. And I thought, oh man, someone's out marking them up. Well, it turns out it was HRS. They went through and painted everything, marked it all.
The orange paint.
Yeah. You know, there's down by the sheriff's department and around the corner, especially, there's some shrinkage cracks on that. And like I said, they've already marked them. They're going to chase them, seal them. There was one section on 12th Street where it had a crack running through a couple panels and a little bit past on each side that they had marked, and one crack in a curb. But they've got them all marked. I think they've started on some, and they've got most of the cracks, other than these that they have marked, already chased. They just haven't sealed them yet. They're waiting. There's a sealant that has been proposed that's used on airport runways, concrete airport runways, and they've submitted that. It's supposed to be stronger and last longer. They're waiting on the engineer to check with KDOT and other specialists to get thoughts on utilizing that. I think what else? That's a big thing. They did pour Miami this morning. They got that done. And they plan, their hope is to get these cleaned out and poured this week, this east side on 7th, and then move over, like I said, once it cures. I'd put in my memo about the shoring equipment demonstration. I put July 9th, it's July 8th. I apologize for that. But Brad caught the correction on that. But 7:30 a.m. on July the 8th, but we've got the new shoring equipment in, so he's going to demonstrate it, I think, for departments as well. I mean, that's the main thing is how to use it, put it together and all that, but he wanted to invite the commission as well.
What time is it?
7:30 a.m. on July 8th, before it gets hot.
And where is that going to be at?
Out at the water treatment plant.
Okay.
Yeah. The only other thing I have, starting this Friday, I'll be out until the 12th. I'll be back on the 12th. Where I'm going, there is cell phone coverage.
No. There's no cell phone.
Up in the Upper Peninsula, but
No phone service.
yeah.
I'd say
I will say, my sister sent me a text last night that there's Paradise, Michigan on the UP, and she said we have to eat there. So I replied, cheeseburger, question mark. She meant the whitefish that comes off Lake Superior. But I was like, no, how can you not have a cheeseburger in Paradise?
I won't be calling you.
No.
All
All right. That's all I have, unless there are questions.
Well, Garrett, we've met with him, Becky, and Commissioner Shepherd and myself. And he looked at all the streets and the projects, and he's committed to get it addressed the way we anticipated, and he's already addressing it now, and that's I appreciate him jumping on it faster than I assumed, but he's got everything actually outlined and everything looked at and marked, so I think we get along just fine, and so I appreciate him being honest with us. So I think all the commissioners were with us that day. I guess we had a quorum, but we notified him, so there was no problem. So
Oh, yeah, there's no formal action
Yep.
taken or anything.
yeah. So okay, well, appreciate all the street department for their
Oh, wait, go ahead.
street department getting all these houses. We're bringing them down by the day, and the city looks a lot better. And I'm going to give Dave a thumbs up for all his effort and work, and because he's done a whale of a job for us. Everything don't go our way part time, but we get along just fine. So I don't have anything else. Becky.
Let's see. I guess my big thing right now is fireworks because I'm selling fireworks. So if anybody wants to come out to see, but if I'm correct, it's Thursday when they start shooting off fireworks. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
First.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the Hiawatha display is July 3rd.
July 3rd. Yeah.
At sunset. So that's always good.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't think anything else.
Dave's not with us. He's on the road. And Brian, do you have anything?
There was one thing that they talked about when, I don't know if we have it in place or not for sealing the roads. Do we have any type of program put in place yet for making sure that that's getting done in the parameters that I guess he recommends or we have in place? I don't know if we have something, say, do it every 5 years or 3 or 10 or.
You mean as far as what they're using for sealant or just our own program?
Well, Garrett was saying we should have something in place.
Right.
Making sure that we're sealing these roads when that stuff gets peeled out. And that's what's going to keep them around for hopefully 30 years.
I don't know that we've had a specific time in the past. Well, we used to have our own sealant. So
One
it's probably
time
done
we
a lot
had it.
more.
And then the grass sealant, which I think is what you're referring to, we rather be with ourselves.
Yeah.
I guess we
I don't
use.
know that we have a specific.
Well, actually, we talked about that the other day about we used one time, we used Sabetha's, come in and done some oiling on we rented our equipment over there. You don't remember? Well, yeah, we used our oiling machine because we don't have any. We sold ours years ago. We had that holding tank at the old Twomley facility over there, and
I think that was when Virgil was still there.
and then we sold all the equipment, so we don't have anything anymore. So I guess it may be something we can look into the budget for to get some kind of I don't know what it costs for the.
I don't remember the last time. It was in the thousands, but like 4,000 or 5,000. I think last time we rented. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. I think but I want to make sure you're looking more of like a policy that
here's saying this is getting done over so many years instead
Yeah.
of relying on somebody going, hey, this looks questionable.
Yeah, because Oregon Street's going to need it too.
Yeah.
Right. And it'd be different for chip seal, asphalt, or
Right.
concrete, but something that's all encompassing.
Yeah.
I'll work with our engineer on.
I guess
get
what
that
we
from
need
him
to
and, yeah.
what we need to do down the road, we need a strategic plan for the next 5 years or 10 years, what the commission thinks we need to do and get it documented. And that way we can all have a meeting together and then we'll have a plan session. And so we'll know where everybody wants to go in the next 5 to 10 years. And have something laid out and on paper, so we know where we're going to address our issues at the time. So I think we haven't had that for quite a few years, so maybe it's time to bring that back and we've got some new commissioners and stuff, and so maybe it's time to have another work session to set up a strategic plan of what we think we're going to do in the next few years. So, okay. You have anything else, Brian?
I think I'm good.
Okay. How about you, Evan?
I'm good.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded, we adjourn. No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Thanks everybody for coming out.